الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We welcome all our viewers to another edition of this program, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant every one of us with a beneficial knowledge and to accept what we are going to learn tonight a beneficial for every one of us. Today, inshallah, we are going to add another verses from Surah Al-Ahqaf, and that is to say that we are going to take from verses 17 to from verse 17 to verse 20 of Surah Al-Ahqaf. So, but as we usually do it, we start with the constant revision of Surah Al-Fatiha, and after that we move forward to the verses of Surah Al-Ahqaf. So now I'm going to start with my recitation. Just be following me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Now with the verses of Surah Al-Ahqaf. والذي قال لوالديه أف لكما أتعدانني أن أخرج وقد خلت القرون من قبلي وهما يستغيثان الله ويلك آمن إن وعد الله حق فيقول ما هذا إلا أساطير الأولين. أولئك الذين حق عليهم القول في أمم قد خلت من قبلهم من الجن والإنس إنهم كانوا خاسرين. ولكل درجات مما عملوا وليوفيهم أعمالهم وهم لا يظلمون. ويوم يعرض الذين كفروا على النار أذهبتم طيباتكم في حياتكم الدنيا واستمتعتم بها فاليوم تجزون عذاب الهون بما كنتم تستكبرون في الأرض بغير الحق وبما كنتم تفسقون. Again. والذي قال لوالديه أف لكما أتعدانني أن أخرج وقد خلت القرون من قبلي وهما يستغيثان الله وهما يستغيثان الله ويلك آمن إن وعد الله حق فيقول ما هذا إلا أساطير الأولين أولئك الذين حق عليهم القول في قد خلت من قبلهم من الجن والإنس إنهم كانوا خاسرين ولكل درجات مما عملوا وليوفيهم أعمالهم وهم لا يظلمون ويوم يعرض الذين كفروا على النار أذهبتم طيباتكم في حياتكم الدنيا واستمتعتم بها فاليوم تجزون عذاب الهون بما كنتم تستكبرون في الأرض بغير الحق وبما كنتم تفسقون. This is where we stop for today. As I said at the beginning of this edition, that we are going to take it from verse 17 to verse 20, and we ask Allah to accept it as an act of ibadah. So now it is your time and your turn to contribute with your own recitation, and don't forget that you can reach us through this number that is showing on the screen, while you can reach us with WhatsApp call on this number or a direct call on the other number that is going to show now. So this number, you can reach us through it with direct call. So we'll be expecting you patiently in order to contribute with your recitation. So while we are waiting for you to make your contributions, let me just move to another part of this program, which is stating some derived points from the verses of today's lesson. And we discussed some crucial issues in the last edition of this program, such as the significance of being steadfast upon the religion of Allah and its reward here and in hereafter. Another point we discussed about in the last edition was that doing good. Okay, first call. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please, who is the caller? Is that brother Muhammad Amin?
Nah, yakum Allah.
Okay, you are welcome, brother Muhammad Amin. So tonight we are reading from verse 17.
Brother Abdul Fattah.
Okay, brother Fattah Muhammad Jame. You are welcome back.
No.
Hey, you are welcome back. So tonight we are reading from verse 17 to verse 20 of Surah Al-Ahqaf. So you can start.
Nah.
You can start.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أولئك الذين حق عليهم القول في
والذي قال لوالديه أف لكما
الذي قال لوالديه أف لكما أتعدانني أن أخرج وقد خلت القرون من قبلي وهما يستغيثان الله ويلك آمن إن وعد الله حق فيقول ما هذا إلا أساطير الأولين أولئك الذين حق عليهم القول في قد خلت من قبلهم قد خلت من قبلهم من الجن والإنس إنهم كانوا خاسرين ولكل درجات مما عملوا وليوفيهم أعمالهم وهم لا يظلمون ويوم يعرض الذين كفروا على النار أذهبتم طيباتكم في حياتكم الدنيا واستمتعتم في حياتكم الدنيا
أذهبتم طيباتكم
أذهبتم طيباتكم في حياتكم الدنيا واستمتعتم بها فاليوم تجزون عذاب الهون بما كنتم تستكبرون في الأرض بغير الحق وبما كنتم تفسقون.
We say Barakallah Feek wa Jazakallah Khairan for our brother Abdul Fattah Muhammad Jami. And we are happy to have you back on this program. So I just want you to take note of the following points. The first one is Kasra of letter Lam in the following examples. The first example is not that one. وَالَّذِي قَالَ لِي وَالِدَيْهِ لِي that lam, that kasra of وَالَّذِي قَالَ لِي وَالِدَيْهِ. And another example here is وَلِي كُلٍّ وَلِي كُلٍّ. Then وَلِي يُوَفِّيَهُمْ وَلِي. I'm talking about kasra nam of that lam. Then ya al-mushaddada. As you know that letter ya is a soft letter. So that is why you should not say it with strength, not toyiba, not toyi, because saying it with strength will change it to another letter, just like jim. So you know jim. So jim is a strong letter, but ya is a soft letter. So you say toyibatikum toyi, not toyi yi. So what you are saying indirectly is jim. So adhabetum tayyibatikum. And once again we say Barakallah Feek and have a nice time. So back to our discussion. So what I was saying was that in the last edition of this program we made a crucial point. So among was that doing good and being kind to the parents and the outcome of good son. So that is why the first verses of tonight's lesson are about the disobedient son. As you know, we have obedient son and disobedient son. So the last edition was about the obedient son. So that is why the first verses of tonight's lesson are about the disobedient son. But I would like to start tonight's lesson with stating some benefits that we can derive from the verses. So the first benefit that you can derive from the verses of tonight's lesson is warning from disobedience to the parents. Warning from disobedience to the parents. So that is the first benefit. Another benefit that we can derive from these verses is the danger of unconscious enjoyment, and that it will lead to the denial of the hereafter. And that what we mean by that, that unconscious enjoyment in this life will lead someone to forget the resurrection. So that is why the unconscious enjoyment in this life is very, very dangerous. So that is the second benefit that we can derive from the verses of tonight's lesson. So the danger of unconscious enjoyment, and that it will lead to the denial of the hereafter. So another point here is the harsh threat or the bitter treat for the people of arrogance and wickedness. So the bitter trait for the people of arrogancy and wickedness. So that is some of the benefits that we can derive from the verses of tonight's lesson. So now, let's move to the summary of the verses. So verses 16 and 17 discuss about the conduct and fate of the disobedient son. So the conduct and fate of the disobedient son. Then verses 18, 19, 20 discuss about rewards and punishments. So they discuss that the rewards and punishments bestowed in accordance with works. In accordance with works. So rewards and punishments bestowed in accordance with works. So this is the summary of the verses. Okay, let me come again. We say verses 16 and 17 discuss about the conduct and fate of disobedient son. Then verses 18, 19, 20 discuss and affirm it that rewards and punishments bestowed in accordance with the works. So that is the summary of the verses. So now we move to some selected words with their meaning. But before we move to that, I would like to remind my viewers that it is your time and your turn, and that we are expecting you to contribute with your recitation. So now, let's move to some selected words with their meaning. So the first word here is uffin. Uffin and lakuma. So uffin means fair, lakuma upon you both, because in Arabic we have, as you know, that we have pronouns and we have types of pronoun. So lakuma is meant for two. If two, you say lakuma, and if it is one that you are approaching, you say laka. If it is male, you say laka, and if it is female, you say laki. And if they are two, you say lakuma. So lakuma. And this is used here, lakuma, because it is talking about the parents, the two parents. So that is why وَالَّذِي قَالَ لِوَالِدَيْهِ أُفِّلْ لَكُمَا lakuma. So fire upon you both. And we want us to note the proper pronunciation of uffi. Uffil lakuma, and we are coming to that in the section of rules. So we are coming to that. So, but what I want to refer to now is the proper pronunciation. Uffil lakuma walladhi qala liwalidayhi uffil lakuma. Another word here is ta'idanini, and we want to break down this phrase. So in this phrase we have ta'idani, and this ta'idani is combined or conjoined from ta'idu then alif wa nun. So this ta'idani is of two words. So ta'idu and alif wa nun. So ta'idu then alif wa nun, in order to indicate that he is talking to two persons. So he is talking to two individuals. So ta'idani from ta'idu, because that ta'idu is present tense of wa'ada. You say wa'ada, which means he promised. He promised in the past. So he promised. And in the present, you say ya'idu or ta'idu. Ya'idu or ta'idu. So, and they increased or they added that alif wa nun to indicate that he is talking to two individuals. So ta'idani. So now the remaining letters from this phrase is ni. So as you know, it is ta'idani ni. So that ni is meant for the first person pronoun. So it is first person pronoun. So ta'idani. So that is the breakdown of this phrase. Ta'idani ni ta'idani ni. Then khalat, another word is khalat. Khalat means passed away. Then al-qurunu, generations. Al-qurunu, generations. And that al-qurun, it's plural for al-qarnu. Al-qarnu. So qarnu, it's singular. Why al-qurun, it's a plural. So, and al-qarnu means generation or century. Generation or century. That is why if you want to express about the current century that we are in, and I'm trying to use the hijra century, you say we are nahnu fil qarn al-khamis ashara al-hijri, and that means we are in the 15th century of hijra. We are in the 15th century of hijra. So what I want us to derive or to fish out from that is that al-qarnu means generation or century. So we are now in 15th century of hijra. You say nahnu fil qarn al-khamis ashar al-hijri. Nahnu fil qarn al-khamis. So that al-qarn means generation or century. Then yastaghithani. Yastaghithani means they invoke for help. They invoke for help. So, and that word also from this word, I mean this word yastaghithani is of two, let's say two words. Yastaghithu, then alif wa nun. Yastaghithu and alif wa nun. So that means, as I said, yastaghithani means they invoke for help. So now we'll go for a short break and we'll be right back. So stay connected. We'll be right back now.
Tune in to the new satellite of Huda Television, satellite Intelsat 20. Downlink frequency 4149.5. Position 68.5 degree east. Transponder LM21C. Polarization horizontal. Modulation DVB-S2. 8PSK-MPEG4. FEC 3/4. Symbol rate 14.4 MSPS. Band C band. Footprint Asia Pacific, Asia, Middle East, and Africa.
Welcome back to your program Recitation Time, and we ask Allah to bless the time we spend together. So back to our discussion about the selected words with their meaning. But before we move forward and continue that, I would like to remind you once again that it is your time and your turn to make your recitation. So we are expecting your calls either on WhatsApp call or direct call on this number that is showing now on the screen. So what I said last before the short break was the word yastaghithani, and we said that that is of two words, yastaghithu and alif wa nun, and that means they invoke for help. And that verb was derived from al-istighatha. Al-istighatha, and al-istighatha means seeking for the help, seeking for help. So al-istighatha, and that yastaghithu is verb. So another word here is waylak. Waylak means woe to you, woe to you. Then asatiru, asatiru means tales. Then al-awwalin, the ancients or the past ones. Al-awwalin, the ancients or the past ones. Haqqa, being justified, being justified. Umamun, generations. Umamun, generations. And that umam is plural for ummah. Ummah means generation or generation or nation. Generation, ummah, can be translated as generation or nation. So, and that ummah, we say umamun means generations, and ummah can be translated as generation or nation. So, and we want us to note something, that umam and qurun are synonyms. Umam and al-Qurun, the word umam and the word al-Qurun are synonyms. Then another word here is likullin. Likullin means for all. Then darajatun means degrees. Darajatun means degrees. So, and that darajat, it's plural for darajah. Darajah. So daraja means degree, while darajat means degrees. Then waliyuwaffiyahum, and to recompense them in full. To recompense them in full. Then yu'radu means will be exposed. Will be exposed. Then adhabetum, you received. Adhabetum, you received. Then tayyibatikum, your good things. Your good things. Istamta'atum, you enjoyed or you took pleasure. You took pleasure. Then adhab al-huni. Adhab al-hun means the torment of humiliation. The torment of humiliation. Then bighayr al-haq, without a right. Without a right. Then tafsukun means you rebel to Allah's command. You rebel to Allah's command. So this is the selected words. Okay, let me come again. The first word here is uffil lakuma, which means fire upon you both. And that's kuma for two individuals. For two individuals. So uffil lakuma, fire upon you both. Then ta'idanini, from ta'idani ni. So we said ta'idanini means you both promise me. You both promise me. Then khalat, passed away. Khalat, passed away. Al-Qurun, generations. And we say that Al-Qurun is plural for Al-Qarn. And Al-Qarn means generation or century. That is why we set an example for that by saying Al-Qarn al-Khamis Ashar al-Hijri, which means the 15th century of Hijrah. Then, yastaghithani, they invoke for help. They invoke for help. And we said that that verb was derived from al-istighatha, which means seeking for help. Then, waylak means woe to you. Asatiru, the tales. Al-awwalin, al-awwalin means the ancients or the past ones. Then, haqqa means being justified, being justified. Then umamun, generations, generations, and that umam is plural for ummah. And we said that ummah can be translated as generation or nation. So that is why if you want to say we are nation of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you say nahnu ummatu Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we are nation of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You say nahnu ummatu Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, and we added to that these two words, and I mean umam and al-qurun, are synonyms, are equivalents. Then likullin, likullin means for all. Then darajatun, degrees, darajatun, degrees, and that darajat is plural for daraja. So daraja means degree, degree. Then waliyuwaffiyahum, liyuwaffiyahum means and to recompense them in full, to recompense them in full. Yu'radu will be exposed, will be exposed. Then adhabetum, you received, you received. Tayyibatikum, your good things, your good things. And that tayyibat, tayyibat also is a plural. So that tayyibat is plural for tayyibah, tayyibah. So tayyiba, tayyibatikum, your good things. But tayyiba means a good thing. Istamta'atum, you enjoyed or you took pleasure. Then adhab al-huni, the torment of humiliation. بغير الحق, without a right. Tafsukun, you rebel to Allah's command. You rebel to Allah's command. So this is the selected words with their meaning. So now we want to move to another segment of this program, which is talking about some selected verses with their exegesis. But before that, I would like to remind my viewers that we still have like 9 minutes remaining. So, and that we can call to get our recitations corrected. So the first verse, as I said, that the first verses of tonight's lesson are about the disobedient son, those. So that is why in verse 17, which is the first verse of tonight's lesson, in this verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِي قَالَ لِوَالِدَيْهِ. So after conclusion about the obedient son, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala add to that, and in order to tell us the fate and the conduct of the disobedient son. That is why he say, but he who says to his parents, fair upon you both, do you hold out the promise to me that I shall be raised up again? I shall be raised up again when generations before me have passed away without rising. So, وَهُمَا يَسْتَغِيثَانِ اللَّهِ, Why they? They here refer to father and mother. So why they, which means father and mother, invoke Allah for help. So, waylak, amin, woe to you, believe. Verily, the promise of Allah is true. Inna wa'ad Allahi haq. Verily, the promise of Allah is true, but He says this is nothing but the tales of the ancients. فَيَقُولُ مَا هَذَا. But that disobedient sons, disobedient son, that disobedient son says, this is nothing but the tales of the ancients. So this is nothing but the tales of the ancients. So that is the verse 17 with its exegesis. So in verse 18, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they are those against whom the word of torment is justified. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ حَقَّ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقَوْلُ. They are those against whom the word of torment is justified among the previous generations of jinn and mankind that have passed away. Verily, they are ever the losers. Verily, they are ever the losers. So that is the verse 18 with its exegesis. Then in verse 19, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِكُلٍّ دَرَجَاتٌ مِمَّا عَمِلُوا. وَلِكُلٍّ, and for all, either the obedient son or the disobedient son. That is why I say, for all, وَلِكُلٍّ, and for all, there will be degrees according to that which they did, that He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may recompense them in full for their deeds, and they will not be wronged. And they will not be wronged. So that is the verse 19 with the meaning. Okay, let me come again. We say verse 17, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, but he who says to his parents, fair upon you both, do you hold out the promise to me that I shall be raised up again when generations before me have passed away without rising? Why they here for father and mother, why they invoke Allah for help? So, and they say, woe to you, believe, verily the promise of Allah is true, but that disobedient son, but he says this is nothing but the tales of the ancients. So verse 18, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ حَقَّ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقَوْلُ. They are those against whom the word of torment is justified among the previous generations of jinn and mankind that have passed away. Verily, they are ever the losers. And in verse 19, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and for all, there will be degrees according to that which they did, that He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may recompense them in full for their deeds, and they will not be wronged, and they will not be wrong. So this is the selected verses and the exegesis. So now let's move to the last segment of this program, which is stating some rules concerning the verses of tonight's lesson. But before that, I would like to start that segment with the errors of our caller. So, and the first evaluation here was liwalidayhi, I mean the kasra of letter lam in these examples. So وَالَّذِي قَالَ لِوَالِدَيْهِ لِوَالِدَيْهِ. So we have to make it a full kasra. A full kasra, not وَالَّذِي قَالَ لِوَالِدَيْهِ. If you say that, you have turned the kasra to sukun. If you say وَالَّذِي قَالَ الْوَالِدَيْهِ, so you have to make it a full and complete kasra. liwalidayhi, then walikullin darajatun. But you have to be very careful in order not to add a prolongation to that. So as you are protecting that kasra, as you are protecting that kasra, at the same time, don't bring any prolongation after that kasra. So because if you say wali li, you have brought a prolongation, and which is an error. So it is wali kullin, wali li kullin. Another example is wali yuwafiyahum, wali yuwafiyahum, and not li. You have brought a prolongation. So you have to be very careful. Then another error from our caller was that ya al-mushaddada, ya, letter ya with shadda, and we say that letter ya in any case is a soft letter. So, and we have to deal with it with softness. So we say tayyibatikum adhhabtum tayyibatikum, not tayyi. So not that we will relate with it, or we will treat it with strength. So letter ya is not a strong letter. It is a soft letter. That is why we have to deal with it with softness. Then uffil lakuma. So what we are going to do here is the full imagine, which is al-idgham al-kamil. Al-idgham al-kamil. You say وَالَّذِي قَالَ لِوَالِدَيْهِ uffilla. Not uffin lakuma. Uffin. No. Don't bring any nasa sound here, because what you are expected to do, as I just said it, it's a complete merging, which is al-idgham al-kamil. You say وَالَّذِي قَالَ لِوَالِدَيْهِ uffil lakuma. Then that dhamma of kuma in lakuma, so it is lakuma, not lakun, not lakuma, no, it is uffil lakuma, ku. It is kaf with dhamma. So kafun madmuma, you have to make it at ease. You say uffil lakuma, not lakuma. So because if you said it as lakuma, that means you put a tanween, so to that, and you applied nasa sound, which is al-ghunna. You applied ghunna to that kaf, and as you can see it clearly, so in front of you, that there is no tanween, there is no ghunna, there is no double dhamma. So that dhamma is only one dhamma and not double dhamma. So if it is double dhamma, you say lakum. But this dhamma is only one dhamma. So you have to make it as that. You say وَالَّذِي قَالَ لِوَالِدَيْهِ أُفِّل lakuma, not lakuma. So that is the last segment of this program. Okay, I say tayyibatikum, tayyi. So that letter ya is soft letter. We have to deal with it with softness. Then uffil lakuma. So al-idgham al-kamil, which is the complete merging. And this is where we stop for today. Until we meet again, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, on Sunday, we say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.